Welcome to my channel. I want to thank each and every one of you that has subscribed to my channel, all of you that have liked my videos, commented on my videos, and shared my videos. I really do appreciate it, and I'm amazed by how many people want to hear what I have to say. Tonight, I was sitting in my chair watching TV and thinking that the day was over, and then I ran across this. Why Mike Johnson winning the speakership is a loss for the country. I don't even know who Mike Johnson is. I've never heard of him before. He's obviously not well known in the press or anything like that. But apparently he's a Republican from Louisiana. And the Republicans, after a lot of infighting, ended up deciding that he was going to be the speaker for them. So this guy who's writing this opinion piece is a CNN political analyst, a professor of history and public affairs at Princeton. So I can tell you right off the bat, the guy's a far left liberal, probably a Marxist, okay? Hates America, thinks everything America does is wrong, and so he's going to pontificate on Mike Johnson. He's the author and editor of 25 books, including the New York Times bestseller. Yeah, well, okay, if it's a bestseller in the New York Times, it's likely a leftist publication. Myth America, historians take on the biggest lies and legends about our past. Well, I'm sure that's chock full of truth. So, what does he have to say about Mike Johnson? He says he's no moderate. Says he's free of any major known scandals. Of course, I'm sure they're looking for the scandals now as we speak, and gentler in demeanor than Jim Jordan. But he is a far-right Republican. He's one of those people, according to this professor, who are, quote, replacing the generations of the upstart Tea Party and smash-mouth partisan Newt Gingrich as they push their party even further to the right. You know, the Republican Party of today is to the left of where JFK was when he was president. That's a fact. You can look it up. JFK cut taxes. He was a Democrat. He cut taxes. So today's far right wasn't even on the right when JFK was president. They were on the left. That's how far to the left this country has slanted. But he talks about New York Representative Elsie Stefanik's speech that was, quote, pure red meat for the party. She accused the left of wanting to stop paying for police. Is that false? I don't think so. No, it's true. Being weak on defense, yes, they have been weak on defense for a long time. And undermining the values of the nation. That would be things like, having cross-dressers perform in front of kindergarten children. Having men coming into women's bathrooms and competing on women's sport teams. That would be undermining the values of our nation. Yes, so she's right on all three counts. She railed against President Joe Biden's radical, failed, far-left Democrat policies. Yes. On energy, yeah. We were energy independent when Trump was president. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't like Trump a whole lot, and I'm not too excited about Republicans in general. But one thing I can tell you is that we were energy independent under Trump, and now we are not. And that is entirely on Biden and the Democrats. And she warned that the government had been illegally weaponized against we the people. Yeah, I just talked about that today, where a police officer in Minnesota was sentenced to 40 years in prison for a crime that didn't exist. He was sentenced for murdering George Floyd when George Floyd wasn't murdered. So yes, you have weaponized the government against we the people. Do I need to mention January 6th? Yeah. On almost every issue, Johnson is hard right. He's been a staunch opponent of same-sex marriage. He's been at the forefront of, and I love this phrase, opposing reproductive rights. That would be abortion. Abortion is not reproductive rights, my friends. And I love the way these lefties twist and turn the terms and change the language into something it doesn't mean so that they can support their evil policies. Quote, he opposed funding for Ukraine. Okay, well, I can see an argument for that. I can see why some people would think that. I don't know that I'm necessarily agree with that because I think Ukraine deserves to exist. But he opposed funding. He wants to deregulate the economy. Yeah, do you know anybody who doesn't? Cut taxes and deny the very real problems facing our climate. Well, you know, for decades now, we've been told that the earth is heating up and that we're all going to die. And we've been given different dates for those deaths, and all those dates have come and gone, and none of us have died yet. Okay? But the most evil thing about the climate scam, that's what I'm going to call it, the climate scam, is that somehow these idiots think that by spending trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars, we can change what the planet is doing. Like the hubris of men to think that they can control the weather, that they can control what the planet does. It's just ridiculous. First of all, you'd have to get every nation in the world to agree to it. Good luck on getting China to do that. And secondly, it's ridiculous to think that we can have that kind of impact on the weather. We don't. We never have. It's not us causing climate change. He supported expunging former President Donald Trump's second impeachment. Yeah, because it failed and it was baloney anyway. And has questioned the Justice Department for how far it has funded investigations into Hunter Biden. Yes, because he's clearly corrupt, and his father is clearly corrupt, and there's no way that any sensible, logical person can argue against that. Even the people on the left are beginning to realize that, and it takes a lot to get through those thick skulls. Most importantly, Johnson was at the center of the effort to overturn the 2020 election. Yes, because it was stolen. Period. End of sentence. I don't give a damn how many times the so-called media says that people claim that the election was stolen without evidence. That's the term, without evidence, that they love to use. Without evidence. Yeah, well, you've suppressed most of the evidence, and we're starting to find some of it out, okay? But we know that the election was stolen. It's obvious it was stolen. The vast majority of Americans know it was stolen, and no matter how many times you pound the drum and say it wasn't stolen, we don't believe you. Within the House itself, he was one of the point persons working with the Trump administration to subvert the decision of American voters by standing against certifying the 2020 results. Yeah, because the election was stolen. Everybody knows it. I could go on, but there's no point. I'll put this article in the description below so you can read the whole thing if you want to. It's a bunch of leftist tripe and complaining and bitching because they see themselves losing the grips on power. I hope to God the American people wake up this next election and vote in such overwhelming numbers that all of the cheating that's go on is for naught. And that they elect enough people to office who stand for the country. Notice I didn't say Republicans. People who stand for our country, that we can save the country before it dies. As always, I pray that you will be abundant, that you will be in good health, and that you will live a long life, and that God will keep you safe. And I pray that He will do the same for every single person that you love. And I pray that you will be anxious for nothing, but in all things, with prayer and supplication, with thanksgiving, you will make your requests known to God. And the peace that passes all understanding will keep your heart and mind in Christ Jesus. This is the Vietnam Era Vet out.